Hi, class.
How are you?
Yeah, today we have entered week 8, and we are going to talk about teaching demonstration, my philosophy, my teaching philosophy. My teaching philosophy is a phenomenological constructivist approach, and it's all about helping both the instructor and the students to grow professionally in this teaching philosophy. Um, like primarily it's a phenomenological approach, but I blend it with a constructivist approach too. So what does it take? By the way, how was the weather? It's kind of hot here in Chicago. How was the weather? All of you joining. I can see many of you have joined already.
Well, I'm in New York and it's pretty steamy. The weather that you got in Chicago is coming our way, and we're on the ocean, so that makes the humidity even worse.
Wow. Okay, I can see. Okay, somebody is joining right now. Okay, like this is week 8, as I mentioned at the beginning, and it is all about presenting my teaching philosophy. I have talked about this teaching philosophy to the class. I've sent notes already, but since this is our meeting point, I felt that I can go through it with you so that you have at least the word of the master on how the teaching philosophy works. Um, so the phenomenology focuses on entirely on the individual perspective of issues and attending to subjective observations of individual, bracketing off prejudice, bias, and look at something from its phenomenological perspective. So the idea of this approach is to help students uh, develop critical thinking and also be able to have a multicultural in-depth of clients. That's the essence. So that in this class, we are going to use this phenomenological constructivist approach to understand some cultural elements. And in order to apply this approach, it needs a kind of contemplation. You look at something, you become mindful, focus, mindfulness. That's all about this approach, so that you can also create your own reality, your own perspective, not just what the society wants us to believe or what the society is holding to be truth. You have to feel it yourself. From your own subjective observation, you have to come up with some objectivity. And that's the whole thing. Then, with the constructive approach, you have to make meaning of what you are witnessing or you are experiencing. And that's why mindfulness, as a key practice of this contemplative identification, both for the subjective and the objective reality, is very important. So, so my approach will encourage interprofessional learning and reflection. Most importantly, deepening our critical thinking. Um, What is our goal in using this approach? The goal of this teaching style is so that counselors and future counselors will appreciate um, things from its phenomenological perspective than just something tradition that has been passed on to us, and also to become conscious of yourself, of myself as a counselor. And that's why um, in this week, week 8, we have chosen to look at a cultural elements, analysis of cultural elements. And the issue we are looking into this week is issue of sex, gender, and different abilities, aging. These are some of the things we have to look into. So, with this teaching philosophy, for instance, if I'm looking at sex issue, I'm looking at gender role, I'm looking at sex, I'm looking at how am I seeing this person? When I see a person, how do I define this person? In many cultures, we have what is called a gender role, and it still persists today in many cultures. But in the same culture, people, maybe when we talk of a gender role, we talk of, for instance, the male have different function than and women have different function. So there is kind of stereotype. But within the same culture, even within the same economic status, you find a family thinking different from the other. So these are some of the issues. I'm sorry, it's really burning here in Chicago. uh, so these are some of the issues we have to look at. So what is that difference when people of the same culture, the same economic status, but they perceive sex or gender issue differently? What could be the issue? One, it could be the way people are perceiving things. That's okay. In some culture, you see female, they go to school. In the same culture, you see some female not going to school. School are meant for men and not for women. But some people take extra mile because of their own phenomenological understanding of human life. And that's one thing about this approach. You look at issue of aging. What are their challenges? What are things things are facing them? What are their problems? How this person that has come of age, you begin to see some of the strengths they have and some of their challenges, and then know how you can attend to that person, knowing that he or she has contributed in the society. So you kind of start to be mindful of the presence of your client. So it's a contemplative approach to it is being present with your client. Not just being present with your client, but also try to understand where your client is coming from. These are so important in using phenomenological constructivist approach. And so in this issue, uh, the K-crop standard expects us to develop strategies to identify and eliminate barriers, prejudices, and processes of intentional and unintentional oppression and discrimination in the society. So, how are we going to apply these elements within this cultural group, within the age issue, within the sex gender issue, within the disability issues? These are some of the things you are looking at using the phenomenological-constructivist approach. You Because one thing about this week learning objective, which is students will analyze cultural elements as they relate to the issue of sex, gender, different abilities and aging, demonstrate how the environment and society can impair the development of this group. So students will also apply evidence-based practice to facilitate counseling with one of the group. So these are some of the things we are looking at. Students will also demonstrate gainful insights. What insight have you gained from this encounter, from the research and readings of this week, week 8? So these are some of the things. At the end, you have to see how you can use this contemplative mindfulness in one, understanding this group. Two, delineate some of the things that may be obstacle to this group's development. Three, you also, what do I see when I see a person in this group coming to counseling? What resources does this person need? What are some of the support system available within the community? How do I help this individual to locate these resources? These are some of the things you become mindful of, and also try to support your client who is in this bracket. I don't know. I hope I'm communicating. I hope you're getting. If you have any questions to ask, you can ask. I'm all here. Yes. Is there anybody with any question?
No, but it seems by using this method that I will have a better assessment of the individual that's receiving the counseling, which is basically what we want to be able to do, to weed out the cultural biases, the age and the sex biases that will give us the wrong assessment.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Smith, I think you're making a good point because the idea of this phenomenological constructivist approach is to help us being in the present of that person's problem, of that person's needs. As we know, cultural difference can create a boundary. It can create a boundary from the choice of words. It can create a boundary from your verbal and non-verbal approach to the client. It can also create a boundary from, your economic status. So what I normally do is to be in the person's shoe. How do I come into that person's shoe? What I do is focus. Use this mindfulness to focus, to think about issues or experience I've heard that is similar to how the society is treating that particular client or individual. So I will just reflect to put myself in the shoe of that person. I must have had one experience in life that will help me focus, will help me do the mindfulness, will help me do the phenomenological approach, looking at the phenomena itself, looking at the needs of this person, what this person is going through, how will I be of help to this person, what are the resources. These are what phenomenological approach helps me to achieve. What are the needs of this person? What is it that I will do to help this person realize his or her own potentials? That's the essence of counseling, to help people be happy again. And using this phenomenological constructivist approach will help me to put myself in that individual shoe, because I'm looking at the phenomena of maybe disability. They are very strong people, but yet they are challenged by their situation. And but their strength is that they are willing to do anything to survive. So I'm looking at this person. I'm seeing the suffering that this person is bearing because of society concept. I'm also looking at the limited resources that this person is having. I'm also looking at what are those strengths this person has in the society. How can I help this person to locate these things? These are some of the issues that are coming up when you begin to reflect, when we begin to use look at the phenomenology or the person from the phenomenological point of view. You begin to look at how you can help the person. So in this assignment, you have to write a discussion post and analyze this cultural element as related to sex, gender, different abilities, and aging. Using a specific cultural element you select and demonstrate how you can offer service, counseling service to the individual. And I'm happy we're able to make it today. I wasn't sure that things will work out fine for me. I was almost like sending an email to cancel this meeting. But good thing, we're able to come together and we're able to enjoy this class. So go and try the phenomenological constructivist approach in multicultural counseling, using the elements or the cultural elements of the group we are discussing today. and see how you can become that conscious, aware of this group, so that we will give them the best counseling service. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.